Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to your first APOS, and really excited about what both of you have been creating over the past couple of years. And I guess I want to start off with both of you by asking, what have been the key highlights for Viacom18 in the last year? And maybe start with you, Kevin, on that.
Let me start off with the first call of order was to try and see if we can set up a world-class team.
Right.
I'm seeing is a team that had the vision, drive, and passion to help us achieve our business objectives. And we've done that across, I'm seeing is whether it was from content, whether it's from marketing, tech, or strategy. And I think once we had that in place is when we thought we should start investing in a couple of our lead channels. So over the last 12 months, we invested in a big way behind Colors Hindi, which is our lead in the entertainment channel over there. We also invested in a couple of our regional portfolios, which was Colors Kannada, which is in the south of India, and Colors Marathi in the west. And happy to say that over the last 12 months, Colors Hindi has seen a phenomenal growth.
Right.
We've seen approximately something like a 35% growth in viewership, and yeah, as of last week, neck and neck with the leader.
Right.
So that's been a great start for us. But what gave us really immense, happiness over the last 12 months is we've created a new homegrown IP in the comedy genre. And Laughter Chef has now become the #1, show within the comedy genre in that space. That's the thing. Lastly, if I look at the small screen and CTV, we launched JioCinema Premium.
Right.
And on the entertainment side, we've got some of the biggest Hollywood studios on that platform.
Right.
And also created some of the biggest web series on it, where we drop at least 2 every month. So yes, I'm seeing this, if I think about it, the last 12 months, we have increased Viacom18's footprint in the media and entertainment landscape, and things are looking exciting ahead.
Great.
Vivek, I'll start by saying that for me, I'm new to the entertainment industry itself. So the last 12 months I've been a little bit like a kid in a candy shop environment, not just with entertainment, but at least the Indian market in itself. I think I'll pick off from an analogy that you took off. Are we dating? Are we in a relationship with India? The one thing I'll say about the Indian audience, which I've learned in the last 12 months, is she is quick to date. She is very careful to commit. But once she's committed, she's very loyal to you.
Right.
So it's an extraordinarily tough market to get in. You had to work extremely hard for it, but it's extremely rewarding. So, I think the earlier analogy saying that it's never a linear curve. The journey is up and down all the time. The last 12 months have been no different for us. I think IPL was definitely a very big highlight for us. I think just to put that in perspective for the audiences, the Super Bowl this year had 170 million viewers. And I think the speaker before us mentioned that sports is a DAU activity, not an MAU activity. And to put that in perspective, IPL had 210 million viewers for 80 days straight.
Wow. Okay.
So, the scale of India just absolutely blows you apart. I think it's, from a viewer's perspective, he or she just needs to watch the sport. But for us, the technology, the ability to bring that sport at that scale across so many devices has probably been one of the most exciting, exhilarating, and satisfying journeys for us. What we also do see is it's extending beyond cricket. Olympics had a 7x viewership to any other sport.
Right.
We are seeing other sports properties, including sports like chess, having an audience which is, it's probably, chess today has an audience in India which is bigger than the entire world audience combined.
Wow.
So look, the scale of this is just unbelievable. We are finally beginning to have 100 million days, as Kevin pointed out. It's not just sports. The sports to entertainment transition is beginning to happen. We are seeing 100 million days for news. We are seeing 100 million days for Big Brother. Subscriptions, we hit a 20 million subscription base in about 100 days. So exciting times. I think we are riding a wave. We definitely are getting sampled. Let's hope it sticks.
And that 20 million subscriptions number, sorry, just to double click on that, that's for the Geo Premium or
It's a Jio
service?
Cinema Premium
Which you
subscription.
launched earlier in the year.
That's right.
Okay. Well, congratulations on reaching that landmark. I guess I want to talk about consumption, Kiran. You talked about sports, and I'll double click on that in a minute. But Kevin, returning to you, what are the current trends on video consumption, engagement, eyeballs in India, and how do you see that evolving?
So let me break that into two parts. I'm seeing is one, look at it from a consumer point of view, and the other one from a consumption point of view. When we look at it from a consumer point of view, I'm seeing is most people begin to feel that in India, I'm seeing is people are either watching the large screen or the small screen. And I think that's a myth. I'm seeing is like you and I, every consumer is across multiple screens. We could be watching a big show, an event, or sporting event on the big screen. But at the same time, we'd immerse ourselves deeper by trying to understand a little more, either getting into a 24/7 feed or getting to know a little more about the character on the small screen. And at the same time, we would be sending memes on social media. So we do multiple things. So I don't think so it's about either which screen that is there, right? People consume across screens. And the good thing about our content, it travels well across all the screens. When I look at it from a consumption point of view, if I have to compare, I'm seeing is consumption of media across screens to any of the mature markets, whether it's the US or China, okay, the consumption in India is far lower. Just to put that into perspective, consumption of the big screen content in India would be approximately around about 3 hours, 12 minutes, okay, per A. And if you look at it from the small screen, 2.5 hours. So I see this huge growth, potential for growth.
So putting it together, it's about 6 hours per day.
Yes.
Got it.
So I see a huge potential of growth over there. Also, when I look at the big screen on today's date, as much as people talk about, I'm seeing is digital and television coming down, I think there's huge potential to grow the big screen. Of the 300 million households that we have in India, penetration of the big screen is still at 60%, as compared to 85 to 90% in most metro markets. So if I have to just summarize it, I'm seeing is, one, there's scope to grow from a consumption point of view on cross screens, both on TV, on the large screen, as well as the small screen. And if I have to look at it, India, I would say, is not a either or market, it's an and market, where both screens can grow.
You know, I wouldn't build on what Kevin said. Look, I think the key part of what mobile has done to sports watching has just been phenomenal. Truly, sports is a billion screen audience now, across all three screens. If you put television, CTV, mobile combined, what cricket plus sports together has done is that if you want to reach, and India is proving that if you want to build reach in the most rapid possible way, sports, nothing reaches like sports does.
Got it.
I think the so what is the one which is really interesting for us, is how people behave across devices. There was a feeling when people were on linear TV that sports is a lean back, big screen, man cave experience. To now, sports is leaned forward, interactive, engaging experiences. And that creates an immense amount of possibilities, which is people watching multiple camera angles, people who are really involved with the sports wanting to have more expert opinion coming in, concurrent content watching, RMG, betting, sports betting. And I think we are seeing early stages of a dual screen utility,
Right.
where there is the sport happening on a big screen, but the small screen is actually much more about the engagement and the interactiveness with the sport. Exciting times. I think, again, it was very well put earlier. At the rates at which sports are being sold today, monetization will have to assume multiple streams. Consumers are showing behaviors where they are willing to engage in formats which earlier they haven't. I don't think the monetization models have caught up yet.
Lastly, I'm seeing this from an entertainment point of view. Kiran touched upon regionalization, right? I think I'm seeing is delivering content in regional languages is on the rise and will continue to grow in a big way. We heard that earlier in the day. If I have to really put into perspective, India is not a homogeneous market, right? I'm saying is, India is a market which has 22 local languages and approximately around about 58 social cultural regions. Now, you cannot look at that as one, right? If I have to really compare it, I'm saying is, I will compare India, a market is as diverse as the European Union.
Right.
Yes, and I look at it. And it's
Right.
really important for us to try and see how we can deliver content to those markets or to those consumers, because each of them want to watch content which appeals to them at their social cultural level and in their language. On today's date, if I get it, we are delivering content in roundabout entertainment content in 10 languages. Last year on sports, IPL, we delivered in 12 or 13 languages. Our aim would be to try and see how we can deliver content in 22 languages across to everyone in this country and be relevant to everyone.
And today what's beginning to happen is, if you are an entrepreneur and who wants to use entertainment as a means, you have to basically tap on multiple different formats in order to make your presence felt. It's on you to build the content, it's on you to maintain it. Your monetization is both offline and online. If I go back into a mall experience like a retailer, you don't have a shop. You don't have a shop front where I can drive in people and then use ways to come in. I think that's an enormous opportunity if I think about this. The ability for creators to come in, and I mentioned this briefly earlier. If I were a creator today, what I would really want to think about it is, irrespective of the format that I use, whether it's a one-on-one engagement, whether it's a one-to-many engagement, having an opportunity to come on a platform, engage with my audience the way I want them to engage with me, have monetization opportunities, which are plenty, but also have the complete freedom on how I earn without anybody else dictating it for me is crucial. I don't have a solution for it yet, but I think Kevin and I think deeply about it, saying that if we were to reimagine creator content in India, how would we do this differently?
Turning our attention, Kiran, I guess, to subscription, and you alluded to it, JioCinema, I think getting past the 20 million subscription mark. How do you see that prospect on subscriptions in the medium to long term as you build that marketplace?
Yeah, Vivek, I think you summarized it very well in your opening presentation. Subscriptions is, look, it's meant for the higher usage audience who says, look, I don't want the inconvenience of interruptions in the form of advertisements. When I watch my content, I want to engage with it in seamless ways. In India, I still believe that subscriptions is a vastly under-tapped market audience. For a country which is 1 billion plus people, the entire subscriptions market is 50 million. And most people kind of walk away thinking, saying that, oh, it's probably not a subscriptions market. The one thing which India, across multiple industries, has taught you is that, going back to the thing, Indians take 4, 5, 6 years to get comfortable with something before they're willing to unlock their wallets. CPG as an industry had to go back to sachets before people started buying bottles of shampoos. Car industry started off with very low pricing before things take off. Finance has done that. I think entertainment is in that phase of where people are experimenting. Finance, even the payment gateways today, are not the most trusting ones. Many of the reasons that are holding back subscriptions has nothing to do with content. It's got everything to do with people trusting payment systems, people trusting a particular platform, and trust takes some time to build. Many of the platforms, which are OTT platforms, ours included, I don't think have earned the right of that trust, both in terms of content variety, stability, making sure that the data security features are coming in. And finally, pricing. Look, it's not a market in which you can come and skim and go away. And I don't think today all of us collectively have done justice to this. We try to look at India as a US dollar pricing market and say, oh, it's a $1 market.
But there's a lot of elasticity within that $1.
Precisely.
As well,
But I think there's an entry price point required. We launched it for less than 50 cents. And people were thought that we were crazy.
But you've added 19 million subscribers in 6 months.
Days.
Yeah.
In 100 days.
Yeah.
So I think there's tremendous potential to it. It's always going to be a dual screen model, a dual monetization model, in fact, multi-monetization model, with subscriptions being one of them.
Last question to both of you. Still a very exciting fourth quarter coming up, but then as you go into 25 and you create this new entity, what are the 2 or 3 key things you are both focused on together or separately, privately in your different business units that you are super obsessed about that are going to move the needle for the business and the consumer?
I'm saying is, I'll go first. I'm saying from a content point of view, clearly, I'm saying is we don't look at it by screens. I'm saying is, in the end of the day, our big aim is to say that how do we create great content, which might be suited to the big screen, but at the same time, what is it that you can give them, your consumers, to engage even more on the smaller screen, right? And try and keep them glued on to your network.
Got it.
Yeah, Vivek, I think the one thing which keeps both of us awake is the fact that we believe there's an enormous opportunity, but also there's an enormous responsibility in delivering that promise across multiple screens.
Right.
How we take our content, how we serve it, how we ensure that audiences not only consume in these screens, but are also transferring their screen consumption patterns to across. I think there's a lot of time being spent in here to find out small to big screen, which one suits which audience across different parts of India. I would also say that something that keeps us awake is the monetization models.
Right.
I think there was a very valid question coming in. India is 5 to 8 years ahead with consumption, and monetization catches up. The question is, how do we survive those 5 to 8 years together?
Right.
And I think the one ask which I would leave with everyone in this room is, whether you are in the content space, whether you are in the technology space, look, for us, India is where we are committed, India is where we will survive, India is where we have to succeed. But for anyone else who's coming in here, you said it really well again at the very beginning. Global models don't apply to India.
Yeah.
If you come in and try to skim the market, if you try to price yourself in a way that it's a US dollar pricing, if you don't show commitment to India, India does not reward.
Right.
And I think one thing which keeps me awake with what we have committed ourselves to is we will bring the audience. That's our obligation.
Right.
But we need partners who are in it to win it together. And those are relationships for 5 to 10 years. And those are not anything which are 12 to 18 months.